Good morning, I'm Dr. Scott.
And I'm Mrs. Worley. Welcome to the E2
News. This is the news for the week of Monday, June 1st to Wednesday, June 3rd.
We have made it to the last week of school.
Right, and here is this week's lunch menu.
Monday, pizza, choice ham and cheese.
Tuesday, chicken rings. How do they make chicken in a ring?
I'm not sure. I always wondered how they made them in a nugget, let alone a ring. So.
Or you could also have a sloppy Joe.
Wednesday, hamburger choice, hot dog.
The Explorer Bookstore will be open this Wednesday during lunch.
This will be your last opportunity to use your book certificates or your own money to purchase some great books for summer reading.
And now it's time to hear the
Word of the Week.
This week's word is
vacation.
Woohoo! Vacation means
a break from work or other responsibilities.
For example, starting on Thursday, Eastside Elementary students and staff are on
vacation.
Don't you love that word?
I love that word.
Remember to use the word of the week when you're talking or writing this week. So, Mrs. Worley, are you going to go on vacation this summer?
I am going on vacation this summer. I'm going to a big golf resort and playing lots of fun golf in Kentucky.
I love that vacation idea.
What are you going to do on vacation?
I don't know that I'm going on vacation this summer, but I'm going to be at Eastside Elementary working during my vacation.
Ooh, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
that's not a real vacation, but oh well.
It's okay.
It's okay. All right. Okay.
And now it's time for the
Shout Out of the Week.
Dr. Scott, oh, that's me.
Let me try. Let me just say this. Dr. Scott would like to give a shout out to Mrs. Womack and Mrs. Turner for all of their work on the newscast this year. Thank you for all you do to keep us informed. You gals rock.
Dr. Scott, why don't you do this one?
Which is you. Okay. Would also like to give a shout out to all the students of Eastside Elementary for another great year. Thank you for doing your part to make Eastside the best school ever.
And now it's time for Mrs. Womack to do the Fish Cash drawing for books. Hope you guys have a great summer.
Hey Eastside, before we do the Fish Cash drawing for books, let's go to Mrs. Sanders' class because we have a commercial for the Backward Bird Dog book. I'll see you in a minute for the Fish Cash drawing.
I'm Cameron. I'm Aaron. I'm Holly. I'm Wyatt. And we're going to tell you about the Backward Bird Dog. If you haven't read the Backward Bird Dog, then you're in on a treat. The characters are Carol, Bill, JC, Chomps, Old Blue, Justin, and Gray Cat. JC asks his mother what's a my. His mother replies, a my is a people, not just any people, a very special people who you love and who loves you. He loves to roll in the dead things, but he doesn't like it when he has to take a bath. It's about a poor dog whose nose goes through some hard times trying to protect it. He likes his new home, but everybody doesn't like him. JC gets his nose hurt by a fuzzy gray thing, a dog, and a wasp, and a bird. Many kids 8 and up should have a chance to read this book. Read the Backward Bird Dog. It's in stores now. Yeah.
Good morning Eastside Explorers, and it's time for our last Fish Cash drawing for the year. So let's get started with first grade. If your name gets called, come on down to the office and get a certificate that you can use on Wednesday at the bookstore. The last chance. Okay. From Mrs. Shuck's class, our first grader is Zane Barton. From Mrs. Adams' class, Ethan Goodnight. From Mr. Barnett's class again, Elijah Carmack. And our last first grader for this year is from Mr. Barnett's class, and it is Cody Blevins. Come on down and get her certificate. From Mrs. Hines' class, Amaya Chapin. From Mrs. Hines' class again, Xander Busby. From Mrs. Hines' class again, Francisco. And from Miss Bennett's class, Ethan Junko. Come on down and get a certificate. From 3rd grade, Mrs. Sanders' class, Reese Dale. Mrs. Shaw's class, Angel Jones. Mrs. Shaw's class again, Emma Goodson. And our last 3rd grader for this week is from Mrs. Sanders' class again, and it is Wyatt Smith. Come on down and get a certificate. From Mrs. Payton's class, Juan Lopez. Mrs. Maidlow's class, Prince Bryant. Mrs. Biggis's class, Mariah Summit, and our last 4th grader for this year is from Mrs. Biggis's class again, and it is Clancy Kimball. Come on down and get her certificate. From 5th grade, Mrs. Fulton's class, Serenity Patterson. Miss Plummer's class, Savannah Hess. Mr. Lambert's class, Mackenzie Houck, and our last 5th grader for this year is from Mrs. Lavelle's class, and it is Jerica Wilbur. Come on down and get a certificate. Once again, Eastside Explorers, thank you for being proud, positive, and productive. See you next year.